Hello folks, today I'll be bringing you a build for the Dusk Mage class, and this build is the so-called Spiker build I've named it, or Worker build for the Dusk Mage class. It is the first one from a series of builds for all the classes. This one specifically centers around using Energy Spike, which will be the main source of damage, and different synergies that come with it. So let's just go through all the skills quickly and then go through all the gear. We need Holy Bolt for building up our dark skills bar, and also for sniping some targets with precision, like faraway targets. Next off, we got Consecration. This is a great skill for boosting our damage and our party if we play with other people in the group. And if we play with other people in the group, you're also getting a damage boost for each ally that's standing in the bonus circle. This needs to be level 12, this needs to be level 12. All those skills that you're seeing here need to be level 12. When we get through all those skills, I'll go through the passives, or as I call them, passive only skills that I'm only leveling up for the synergy. So let's go through the next skill, Luminous Run. This is your movement and escape skill. Once you max it out and get all the passives I've gotten, you could kind of almost spam it. You can see it says duration 4.04 seconds, cooldown 4.8 seconds. As you can see, when I use it, before it runs out, before I can use it again, it's 0.3 or 0.4 seconds. You can modify it further with some gear, I'll show you later, if I have got some gears like that. So, Energy Spike, the main source of damage, maxed out of course for extra Energy Spike damage and white bar charge gain. And Unholy Bolt, I've decided to go with this as the single target melter. When you come up close to a target, point blank, all 3 bolts would be hitting the target. So regardless of the random nature of the skill and how those missiles, those projectiles all go kind of far away, if you go right next to the target, let's say this goblin, Gobo, let's say he's our target. If we stay here, all 3 bolts would hit him. In here maybe 2 of them would hit him, but over here I'm assuming all 3 would hit him. And this is a great skill. It can also be modified by items like the boots that give more damage to Unholy Bolt, and there's probably other items that could give you damage for Unholy Bolt. I think gloves can also do that. So, as you can see, there are different synergies. Holy Bolt gives you dark skill damage, so it gives damage to Energy Spike and Unholy Bolt. Consecration for the moment has a mystery skill's duration, so there's gonna be a new skill that's added, probably a buff, that will have its duration increased by Consecration. So at the moment we are only getting bonus to Consecration from leveling it up. Next off we have Luminous Run, which gives relic weapon damage. This is good regardless of the relic weapon. It's nice to have that extra bit of damage if you plan on using relic weapons often, and I also advise using relic weapons on bosses or elites and legendary unique monsters that might prove to be tough without the help of a relic weapon, or if you just want to burst them faster, that also helps. So the light bar charge gain on Energy Spike means that this bar here, as you hit enemies, I'll show it demonstrated later at the end of the video, it will fill up fast. And Energy Spike is the best skill, in my opinion, to fill out the white bar charge. Once you fill this bar, you use a white skill, maybe Holy Bolt or Luminous Run or Consecration, whichever, and this will result in the addition of energy buff, energy or mana regen buff. As for the dark bar, It gets filled up as you use light skills. This is a great one to use, but you can also try and use Absolver or Holy Fury. And once you fill the dark bar by using light skills, you use a dark skill such as Energy Spike or Unholy Bolt, and then it will give you an extra damage buff. It's useful on bosses. I personally, when I play, I don't use it unless I'm doing tough opponents, because when I start trying to fill it up, I'm losing on the DPS by not using Energy Spike. So let's move on to some skills that are passive only skills. Don't mind what you see here. This is something that I've done so I can show all the skills in the different builds. So level 12 Unholy Bolt, level 12 Dark Spears, if you want light skills mana cost. Absolver, Holy Fury and Entropy are skills that we need to level up. Absolver gives you Dark Bar Charge Gain. So if you want Dark Bar Charge Gain, you would max out this skill. If you want Dark Skills mana cost reduction, you would get Holy Fury. The way I made this build, I'll share a document in this video as well, you can see it with all the different setups that I've made. The way I set up the build, this is level 12, this is level 12, this is level 0. And this is also level 12, where this is level 4. So you can have 8 skills at level 12 and 1 at level 4. Currently there is a glitch and you can only have 99 instead of 100 skill points. So for the time being, I would advise going for Spirit Well level 3. Of course, this is just a suggestion. If you think you need a Dark Bar Charge Gain more, or Dark Spears duration if you decide to like implement Dark Spears, you can go ahead and do it. I've left this attack slot, the left mouse button, empty. So if you decide that you want to use it, you can either put Holy Fury there or Absolver, or you could even put Dark Spears there, or just move around 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. however you like. Just the skills I've decided to put into this build are skills that are pretty important for the synergies. So for passive only skills, you're seeing, as I said, Absolver, Holy Fury, Entropy, all those 3 skills at level 12. Entropy for the light skills cooldowns, which is really important for using Luminous Run and for using Consecration. Holy Fury for the dark skills mana cost, and Absolver for Dark Bar Charge Gain if you want to do bosses. If you don't think you need the Dark Bar Charge Gain, you can swap out Absolver's levels and maybe gain some levels, some more levels in Spirit Well for the Dark Skill buff duration. I've put Spirit Well as a level 4, currently it should be level 3, but you can just max that out and not put much into Absolver, and you can probably get Radiant Blast maxed out if you decide to use Dark Spears. So this is pretty much it about the skills. As for the gear, I decided to go for a more damage oriented build. So on your chest items, try to always get something with flat damage bonus. Currently I haven't seen anything besides flat physical damage, so try to get flat physical damage on the chest and on the leg armor. Those are the 2 pieces of armor that can give you physical damage. If you can't get physical damage, try to get more defense and health, or just a combo of health and physical damage like I've gotten here on those pieces. I'd personally prefer a blue with physical damage over a yellow that doesn't give me physical damage and gives me like 3 times HP. But if you think you can do without that extra damage, you can by any means just go for something that looks like this, and it gives you some health, health and health. This is a lot of HP, so if I were to just swap this out, you can see my HP getting bumped up by like 10k, and that is a lot of HP. I currently think this class is all about the damage, especially this build. It is all about bursting things before they can react. So, as on the gloves are the only piece, not only, the only one of the two pieces that can give you gear work. While you're farming, I would assume you would want gear work, so helmet and gloves can give you gear work. As you can see, I've got a pretty amazing one here, 40%, but even if it's something like 30 something percent legendary or 28, 29 blue, it's okay, because you can get some more from the gloves as well. Additional thing to know is that the crit chance and crit damage builds kinda got nerfed. So now with the mage you don't have any passive or synergy that could give you crit chance. I currently have 25 crit chance on this build, and that is while using a main hand, offhand and shoulders with crit chance. You might be very unlucky and not get a main hand and offhand with crit chance. So just don't try to go for a crit chance build unless you really get a main hand and an offhand and shoulders with that bonus. Currently those are the only two places from where you can get crit chance, and you can get around 25, 6, maybe 27, roughly around that number. For the weapon, I'd usually prefer to go with something that has a chance to poison if I'm using the Bane relic weapon. If you have chance to poison, that means you're applying poison, which means you're activating the chance to fire poisonous projectiles when you hit poison targets passive skill of the Bane, which works even if you haven't activated the Bane weapon. On the offhand, I would really suggest to go for something that gives you mana regen per second. If you get something with 40% mana regen per second, you should be fine. Let me see if there's something else that could be another alternative. If you want to go for a more damage oriented build, you can try and get something with a lot of flat damage or flat damage to goblins in the Goblin Frontier and Hivits in the Hivit Frontier. If you want to be more defensive on some bosses, you can always go for a decent shield. I'd suggest going for something with good block chance. I heard that the limit is currently 40% block chance altogether from different sources. So there is a sword that can give you around 20 few percent block chance, and from a shield you can get around 30%, 30 something percent block chance. Something good worth mentioning is on a weapon, for some builds freezing and chilling can be very useful, such as the Holy Fury build, which I'll probably be showing later on the next week. Blind is very useful. Bleed stacks only up to 1 stack, whereas Poison I heard stacks 3 stacks. I haven't tested it after the update, but I think it still does 3 stacks. Burning also does only 1 stack of burning, so Poison seems to be kinda superior in comparison to Bleed and Freeze and Burning. But Freeze is more of a CC, so I just keep it out of the category of damage over time passives. Freeze and Chill can be very helpful, especially on the more melee and tanky classes, or if you just wanna be using beams and making sure the enemies don't reach you. As you saw earlier, I was using some gear that gives me more damage for Unholy Bolt. And there are also gloves that could give you damage for Unholy Bolt. So gloves and boots can give you damage for Unholy Bolt. They can also give you modifiers such as faster cooldown for Dark Spears, as you can see, but again both of those items. There's potion work, which I think applies only to chest and leg armor. Health regen per second, I would say currently until this stat is reworked, avoid it at all cost. Chance to fear is good on mages, it's very bad on melee and close range combat classes. Stun resistance is always good. Chance to block for the pets is what I would suggest going for if you want some pet items. The ideal setup for pets would be, in my opinion, a chance to block cover with ideally 2 lethal studs, because the lethal studs each give crit chance and crit damage. If you have a lethal stud with over 9% crit chance, and even 2 of them, and with over 40% bonus to critical damage, that would be pretty neat for your pet. So if you want to modify something like Luminous Run, again try to find gloves with cooldown bonuses or boots with Luminous Run. Currently the gear that modifies different skills is the gloves and boots. And there are different modifiers for Dark Spears, Energy Spike, I think, Luminous Run, Unholy Bolt. Just try to look out for gear that modifies some of the skills that are implemented into this build. As for the relic weapons, you have only 3 choices: Flaming Destroyer, Bane and Blood Drinker. And I will quickly mouse over all of them. As you saw, the Bane is poison, chance to poison, poison damage additional and health on kill. The health on kill doesn't scale well, so I would stay away from this stat as well as the health per second until that's reworked and improved. So the Bane is basically you activate it and for 30 seconds you start poisoning, doing extra poison damage and health on kill, whereas the passive, which you unlock when you level the weapon at level 7, would give you some additional poison projectiles when you hit poison targets. I'll show exactly this weapon later on, when at the end of the video when I show some gameplay. Flaming Destroyer is unique in a way that it gives you a passive and an active skill. So it's kind of the flaming, the burning weapon. It gives you fire damage, chance to burn, additional fire damage and additional crit hit chance for those 30 seconds active time. There are modifiers that give you additional active time as you kill enemies, or that reduce the cooldown of relic weapons. So if you want to go for a more relic weapon oriented setup, you would have to find gears with such modifiers. As you can see, the passive is 5 attack speed for your relic weapon when you hit stacks up to 5 times. So the first 5 hits would charge this to 25%, and after that you would just keep those stacks at 25% attack speed, and you would have amazing attack speed and additional crit hit chance while using this weapon. Keep in mind that this crit hit chance would not stack with crit hit chance from your main weapon. So when you use the relic weapon, it replaces your main weapon setup, which could be weapon and offhand, or a two-handed weapon, or a weapon and shield. So it immediately replaces that. I will demonstrate quickly how let's demonstrate it with a one-handed weapon like the Destroyer. I'm gonna use it and you would see my focus and my main hand would disappear. So now we just have this weapon, the Flaming Destroyer. So the 30 seconds start counting down, and once it's over it will go into a cooldown mode. And now, because I swapped it, immediately went into a cooldown mode. The one other weapon is the Blood Drinker. You start with the Blood Drinker as a reward from one of the first quests. It is basically a weapon that gives you physical damage, chance to bleed, more physical damage and health on kill with 2 passives. So as you can see, hitting bleeding enemies causes them to rupture, dealing 45% weapon damage to any enemies hit, and an additional level 8 passive, heal yourself for 5% of your total health when you hit a bleeding target. So this is lifesteal on hit. You don't get that from weapons or any other items. You only get health on kill from the other items. So this is the only weapon with health on hit. It's very good for a forge build, but on a forge type personally prefer the Bane. But this can be for a more tanky oriented forge class. On the mage, when you start, you would have this one, so until you can get a Bane or a Flaming Destroyer, you would be leveling with this one, so it's a pretty decent starter relic weapon. Now, I think we went through all the different pieces of equipment you could put. So let's move on to the phase where I'm showing you a bit of gameplay with the build. Here we go with some gameplay. So let's just quickly demonstrate how quickly Energy Spike can fill your white bar here. 1, 2, to use this on a few enemies. The more enemies it hits, the better it is, because it's doing some cascading spikes, and it's 2 rows. This is an amazing shrine, damage shrine. We kinda got lucky here, so let's just show you how we kill those. Well, actually that was pretty fast. I didn't even get to use my Unholy Bolt stacked with Consecration, but this was due to the Might Shrine. So as you can see, it was pretty easy, and this is a level 51 map in the Untitled Frontier. I'm equipped with high-vid gear. As you can see, Luminous Run, good movement skill. It also allows you to phase through enemies, so it's an amazing skill for phasing through them. Now let's demonstrate a bit of Unholy Bolt damage. Let's wait for the shrine to be over. So going in, putting that Consecration, and without a dark buff bar, they're actually doing pretty decent, melting them with Unholy Bolt up close. Whereas for the trash monsters I would go for Energy Spike. Let's try and fill up the bar. There was a nerf on how fast Holy Bolt and other skills fill up the dark bar, so it's twice as slow now. And the only way to get it faster is to level up this skill, Absolver. So that's why I'm suggesting a level 12 Absolver. So when you need to use that dark buff, which I'll show you now, I'll try and find more enemies just to fill it up. Let me quickly find a group of enemies. Okay, let's fill it up on this guy. Before the update, it used to take me 6 hits. Now this is the dark buff, Unholy Charge. Damage dealt is increased. Now it takes around 11-12 hits with Holy Bolt on a target in order to fill this dark bar. And this just gives you extra damage. Good for bosses, good for elites or legendary monsters. As you can see, I'm not with full legendary gear, but I'm not with full blue either, so I'm like a mix. And also I'm using a goblin gear headdress. So there's one goblin item. There was a nerf, so when you equip some items higher than, well, not higher, but from the wrong frontier, before there used to be 3 levels difference. Then it somehow seemed to change to 6. Now it's again back to 3. Maybe at different levels it's different, but just keep it in mind when you equip item from the wrong frontier, like this level 50 Goblin Frontier item in a level 50 High-Vid zone, it will be downscaled by a penalty of 3 levels. If I were to go in a level 40 High-Vid zone with a level 50 Goblin item, I would have this level 50 item first downscaled to level 40, and then another 3 level penalty to 37 because it's from the wrong frontier. So keep in mind that this is how this works. But just see how I'm using Unholy Bolt here. And I'm using Luminous Run to move faster, Consecration to help me deal extreme amounts of damage, and Unholy Bolt up close. I can also use this to snipe out single targets with precision, like this. And if you decide to go for Absolver, as I suggested, you can even use it here in this first mouse slot. Absolver is very heavy on the mana consumption, so I would suggest filling up the white bar with energy spike before using that. Here's another Shrine of Might, so I'll demonstrate what Absolver can do when this shrine is active. Basically, so it kind of can do the same thing Unholy Bolt does, close range hitting with all 3 projectiles your targets, just that it uses more mana, but it's piercing, so it hits anything behind your target. So let's just spam it here. Let's try and use Consecration. So it's a good skill, you can keep it here. Additionally, you can just put Light Fury, Holy Fury here and use that, or you can put Dark Spears there. Let me check if Dark Spears was part of the build. So Dark Spears in this build is supposed to have 0 points. So 0 points in Dark Spears, but if you want a reduced mana cost, you can get Dark Spear and Holy Fury. If you want to be more flexible with the build, I would suggest getting Holy Fury and Dark Spears level 12, like I did. You can probably get rid of Absolver if you don't want that Dark Bar charge gain. And you can just spend the last 3 points either in Radiant Blast for extra Dark Spears duration, or just spend them in Spirit Well. You can also get rid of Entropy, but I strongly advise not to get rid of Entropy. The White Skills cooldown is a must-have if you're using Consecration and Luminous Run. Okay, let's just show you a bit more gameplay. I think just so I can show you what this does. Like what an option, it's kind of imbalanced at the moment, the way those stun mobs are doing. They were stunning me without even being next to me. And I'm not talking about the ranger, I think the other enemies can stun. Yesterday something like that happened to me. Melee enemy stunned me. So this is kind of White Fury. It's very good when you get Dark Spears, because you can currently get 50% slow with Dark Spears and 50% with Dark Fury, as you can see. This will be changing, so it will be actually all the way up to 80% slow. You can get 100% slow once they patch it. So this is kinda okay. You can have 2 instances of Dark Spears running while you have Holy Fury. But since you have one more slot here, probably getting Holy Fury and Dark Spears wouldn't be the best thing, but getting Absolver might fit well. Entropy, since it's part of the build, you can use it as well as an active skill in this slot. I've left it empty, so it would be for the user to decide what skill they want to put there, or whether just use a attack, movement, speed, attack and movement skill, the way I do. So, I think that pretty much sums it up. There's not much else to show. I've shown everything that there is about this build. Expect another build video tomorrow from me about another of the classes, or maybe even today if I can finish this one on time, so I can make another one. Thanks everyone for watching this video, and goodbye from me.